Well, one of the first words we ever actually use in our vocabulary is no. But why does it? We seem to forget how to use it as we get older. For many, the word no has escaped our everyday language, being replaced with things that we just do for other people. So how do you confidently say no? Psychologist Clare Mann joins us. Good morning, Clare.
Lovely to be on the show with you.
Saying no does seem to be an issue many women particularly have. Is it a personality thing or a gender issue?
I think there are a number of variables. There may be some personality factors where some people seem to be more assertive and able to speak out about things, and other people seem to go along with the crowd. But there's a huge environmental sort of impact, the sort of family people have been brought up in, and the sort of influences they've had and the role models they've had from mothers, grandmothers, and what's expected of them.
I was thinking that maybe it's the nurturing role of especially mothers in the family role, because mum will always say, yes, oh, I'll take you to soccer practice. Yes, I'll do the shopping. Yes, I'll do everything. Because they just constantly say yes.
I think you're absolutely right. I think there's enormous variability in people's capacity to say yes or no. At one end of the scale, we've got people saying, yes, I can do this. But the other end of the scale, it's intolerable for people to say no. And, of course, most of us fall in the middle. I think mothers, you're absolutely right. They're brought up in a certain way. How can I be a good mother? In the past, of course, women have been brought up to think of others first. Think of their children, their husbands, their community, and therefore it's much more difficult. But today, of course, they have choice.
It's the nurturing role of mothers. So, you know, it's the fine line of saying no, because burnout is a big issue here, which is why we brought it up today. What is the danger of constantly saying yes and not no?
There are huge dangers. When a woman wants to say no, but she ends up saying yes, there's a sort of trigger reaction inside. There's a sort of stress, obviously, results, and the woman says, I'm here again. I've got all these commitments and demands. I was going to say no and I didn't. So they find themselves saying yes, and then they start resenting other people. But the most dangerous thing is they turn it on themselves. So
what are the tools that people can use to learn how to say no? We're looking at someone on a screen. Perhaps you could walk us through them.
Yes, of course. Well, I think there are a number of ways. When someone says no in and of itself, they have to be pretty self-assured to stay with that. Obviously, they're going to be expecting conflict, for instance. So just by actually making that sentence a little bit longer, you know, thank you for the opportunity, but no.
But you have to practice that.
You certainly have to, and that's what I encourage people to do, because when they start to say no to other people, they say yes to themselves, and they get better at it.
Well, excellent advice and practice. And listen, this is a question not on notice. I just mentioned the woman who is proudly wanting to become the fattest woman in the world for the Guinness Book of World Records. Psychologically, I mean, clearly obesity is a health issue. What do you think's going on with this woman?
Well, I think it's confusing to everybody when you see this sort of woman acting in this way, any person acting in this way, and it's very confusing. But I think psychologically there could be a number of factors. We'd have to look a little more clearly to see this specific case, of course. But let's just think about it. People want to stand out. She's getting enormous coverage. She's actually important in her own right. So maybe it's the one thing she is taking a big risk on.
Being famous. She wants to become famous, even perhaps at the cost of her life. Yeah, well put. Well, thank you, Clare, very, very much. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you indeed.
Clare Mann joining us.